Ghana and the Ivory Coast are the two biggest producers of cacao in the world. 60% of the world's cacao comes out of Africa. And then the other 40% or so comes out of mostly Latin America. You'll see some come out of Indonesia or, some of but it's always tropical. I mean, not cacao does not grow in the United States.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not that we're tropical, but we have tropical areas, but not that tropical.
No.
This episode of Grounded in Maine is sponsored by ESG Review. ESG Review magazine is published quarterly in February, May, August, and November, and is available for free in print and digital formats. ESG Review is devoted to environmental, social, and governance strategies, technologies, and investments. ESGreview.net is updated every Wednesday with 8 new stories and is home to feature articles, news items, and more. Visit esgreview.net to stay informed and help us spark the collaboration and awareness needed to develop sustainable economies and communities around the world.
There's a place where there's no trouble, no more pain, no more struggle.
Grounded in Maine podcast is an open conversation about how we show up for the world. I started this podcast out of a desire to learn new ways to be sustainable because the word sustainability is big. It can be overwhelming, and I just wanted to learn, different ways to try to be part of the solution and not feel like it's too late. So I'm talking to people who are doing different things and learning so much. I hope you are too. Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy Bolduck. My guest today is Keith Bearden, who is the CEO of Alter Eco, which is a sustainable chocolate company. But you also were saying that you have granola as well. Are there other products, Keith?
We have quinoa as well, too. That's
Oh,
one of our legacy products. That's one of the first products that the company had.
oh gosh. Thank you so much for being here. I'm thrilled to learn more about, everyone loves to learn about chocolate and chocolate that's better for the earth is even, that's just gravy. That's a bonus. But I'm thrilled to learn more about your company and all that you're doing.
Well, thank you for having me.
And so Alter Eco is, we probably mostly know it as chocolate, but you said that you have granola and you started with quinoa. That's really interesting.
Yeah, quinoa was one of the first products. The way the company was founded, the name Alter Eco doesn't talk about chocolate or quinoa or anything for that
Oh.
matter, except ecosystems. And so the company was founded by a couple of French guys that were kind of hiking through Latin America and saw the hard work that some of these farmers were putting in and wanted to help them try to get their products to the market. And so, but it was really important for them not just to help the farmers and all of our products that are out there are fair trade or fair for life certified. And that was important. But the other thing that was really important to them, and this is pretty radical at the time, was restoring ecosystems. They saw where, some farms were clear cut and then just planted, row crops or cacao plants out in the open. And then they saw some that were in jungles and they could see the difference that the ones that were in the jungles that were protected by either shade trees or banana or plantain trees or coconut trees or whatever, the pods were bigger, the beans were
Happier,
bigger.
healthier. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so they set out on a mission that to build a company that basically had three core principles: restoring ecosystems, improving livelihoods, and reducing waste.
Oh, I love that.
And so the packaging is a very important part of what we do as well. And we have a line of truffles, little poppable truffles, and each one of those truffle wrappers is actually backyard compostable. And we're the only company in the world that does that.
Yeah, and backyard compostable. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of things that they're not typically composted, and they'll say, industrial compostable, or
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's industrial or
Yep.
commercial compostable, but backyard, that's really
You,
awesome.
you literally can throw it in your garden, and in about 30 to 45 days, it's gone.
Oh, days. Wow, that's awesome. And you said that it says it right on the package, so it's very
Mhm.
clear that that's the plan.
It is. It
I
says
love that.
compost meat. And we publish what we call our regen report every year. As a matter of fact, it just went out last week, and it chronicles what we did in 2024. And we're very transparent about what we do. I mean, our goal is to source our raw materials from regenerative farms, or in the case of cacao, it's a little bit different. It's not like a row crop where you're planting it every year, it's an annual
Mhm.
crop. These cacao plants grow for 50, 60, 70 years. And so it's not really regenerative farming the way we think of, having cover crops when you after you harvested your crop. It's what we call dynamic agroforestry. So it's having that cacao plant exist in the forest that
Mhm.
it's native to
Right. And so adding
and
like biodiversity and stuff like that so that you're adding back to the earth.
absolutely. So the organic matter from all the plants helps the compost of the earth. Plus, in times of drought, if you've got bigger trees like plantains or coconuts, their roots are much, much deeper than a cacao plant. So they're going to draw up more groundwater, which is going to give the cacao plants some water, even though they're not getting it from the rain. They also provide shade during times of drought when it's too hot. So the pods just develop so much better in that environment.
I love that. I mean, I like thinking about that as everything is looking out for each other. You've got these bigger
It
trees
is.
that are providing shade and also water when everything just sort of dribbles down or whatever. Like it's just everything is in sync and working together, and I love that.
It really is. And the other thing it does is it gives the farmers another cash crop. So they harvest those plantains, they harvest those coconuts, avocados, papayas, guavas, limes. I mean, there's so many different plants. I was in Ecuador in December meeting with some of our farmers, and they had a table set up where they had 9 different cash crops that were coming from their farm that we had helped them convert from a row crop cacao plantation.
Awesome. Oh wow, that's cool. 9. So
Hmm.
I mean all those things that you were mentioning, I'm sure, the
Yeah,
coconut and the avocados and
yeah.
plantains, all yeah. And where is cacao mainly like Ecuador or South America?
Really grows 2 places in the world. It grows on the western side of Africa. So Ghana, Ivory Coast, some on the east side, Madagascar produces cacao as well. But Ghana and the Ivory Coast are the two biggest producers of cacao in the world. 60% of the world's cacao comes out of Africa. And then the other 40% or so comes out of mostly Latin America. You'll see some come out of Indonesia or, some of but it's always tropical. I mean, not cacao does not grow in the United States.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not that we're tropical, but we have tropical areas, but not that tropical.
No,
But they're
no,
right.
not at all. And so we source our beans from Ecuador, Peru, and Dominican Republic is primarily where we get our beans from.
Cacao is grown with biodiversity and the agroforestry. And is that what makes it sustainable
Well,
as
that's a
far as the
big part of
packaging,
it.
as well as the
That's a
packaging?
big part of it. I mean, our view of sustainability is pretty simple, really. It's leave the world better than you found it,
Yeah.
you know? And so by not introducing plastic into the environment, by not introduce, so Alter Eco we try to do everything the right way. We've been B Corp certified since 2009. We were one of the first companies in the U.S. to become B Corp certified.
Wow, one of the first in the country?
Hmm. We've
Awesome.
been climate neutral since 2010. We're plastic neutral. I mean, again, we try to do everything the right way. And my marketing team tells me you got to show your receipts. You got to have transparency because frankly, there's a lot of greenwashing in the market today, and
Yeah.
we won't do that. We won't sacrifice who we are for that label, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, all of our products are organic. Our chocolates are all Fair for Life certified. They're non-GMO. We just, again, we focus on trying to make sure we're giving you a super high quality product. And like you said earlier, people love chocolate. All of our chocolates are made in Switzerland, and the Swiss have been making premium chocolates for over 400 years. They know what they're doing.
Wow.
So our chocolates are absolutely delicious.
Hmm.
And you can feel good about what you're doing because of the things that we do. I tell people all the time, you buy an Alter Eco bar and enjoy it, you're saving the planet one chocolate bar at a time.
Ooh. I'm gonna write that down because that's really good. Eat chocolate, save the world.
Hmm. That's the motto.
Awesome. I love that slogan. That's just so great. And it makes you feel good about eating chocolate and who's going to argue with that? So,
Hmm.
um, I love that the chocolate world is making such a difference in the world. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's an interesting marketplace with chocolate. I mean, there are a lot of great chocolate companies out there, don't get me wrong, and a lot of great products on the shelf. And we all kind of have our own little, approach to things. But I will put Alter Eco up against any brand out there just because of the fact that we're so holistic in how we approach it.
Hmm.
Some groups are really focused on, rainforest recovery, and some are focused on anti-slavery in the chocolate industry, and that's a big thing in Africa.
Hmm.
We don't source from those regions, so we don't worry too much about it. It's funny because in Africa, there's a lot of slave labor, there's a lot of child labor. But if you go to Latin America, where we source from, our farmers, of course, their kids work on the farm. Their farm is probably 12 to 15 acres.
Right.
Now, they're not forcing the kids to work on the farm and not going to school and things of that nature, but the kids help out on the farm. I grew up on a farm in Tennessee. You better believe I worked on that farm.
Right. Right. You know how that works.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I'm curious so at what point does the cacao go to Switzerland to be?
So our farmers harvest the beans. The next step is they ferment them. So you crack open the pod, and a cacao pod is so big, about, smaller than a football, like a Nerf football kind of size.
Yeah, I saw a reel about it very recently, and they don't look like we would expect at all.
Yeah. You crack it open, and there's anywhere from 38 to 42 beans in there pretty consistently. And the beans are what we want. So you take the beans out, and the beans have a coating around them. And actually, that coating's very sweet. You can
Oh.
take it and eat it, but that's what it's those sugars cause it to ferment. So they put it in these big, huge, put the beans in these big, huge boxes and let them set. And of course, it's very tropical. It's very hot, and that sugar starts to ferment and eats itself away, and it gives flavor to the beans.
Hmm.
Once the fermentation is done, they lay them out on these huge drying tables and let them dry. And then that's when we take over. So we ship the dried beans to Switzerland. And then the process from there is you roast them just like you would roast coffee beans.
Hmm.
And once they're roasted, and it's a very specific time, temperature, pressure roasting to get the flavor profile that we're looking for. And then you crack the bean open, and what you pull out is the cacao nib. The shells go to animal feed and different products. I used to run a tea company that had a chocolate tea, and we used the cacao shells because they still have flavor in them. And you can't use a cacao nib in a tea bag; it would melt.
Right.
So we used shells, but we take the nibs then, and then we basically grind them like you would think of in a mill, like you'd grind wheat or flour or something like that. Wheat to create flour, we grind the nibs to create a chocolate paste, basically, and a liquor. And then You put your additives in and then you get it to a liquid state and you pour it in a bar and it goes through a cooling tunnel and goes in a package and comes back to the United States to be put on the shelf.
Amazing. I love hearing the process. It's such a long process.
It is very complicated. I took my CFO to one of our manufacturing facilities, and he's also been to some of the farms in Latin America, and seeing all the movement and all the work that goes into it, he's like, "How can we sell this bar for $5? This thing ought to cost $50."
Right?
I'm like, "Yeah, it probably should, but I don't know that the
Who's gonna pay
consumers
it?
would pay
Yeah.
for that."
Hmm. Wow. Yeah, and for sure. I mean, all the shipping and the time fermenting and
Mm,
that's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. And so it sounds like most of the growing is done in South America and
mhm,
then everything else is done in Switzerland.
mhm. Yep. And so the other thing about sustainability for us is that, we don't like, we're carbon neutral. So we're buying offsets and using those in areas where it impacts our supply chain.
Mm.
But we like to reduce our carbon. And so our products are produced in Switzerland. Our manufacturing partner over there uses about 70% green energy. They sit right on the Rhine River, so when the production is finished, it gets put into a container and goes on a barge, which goes up the Rhine River to Antwerp, Belgium, gets put on a ship, comes across the ocean
Wow.
to Norfolk, Virginia, gets put on a train, goes to Columbus, Ohio, and it only travels 10 miles by truck to get to our warehouse.
Oh. And so all the bars like wholesale and such are they come from one place.
Yep, they're distributed. Our distribution is out of Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's very cool. And so how did you okay, you've been doing this for 20 plus years. 20 years?
Alter Eco has. I've only been involved with Alter Eco since 2020.
Oh, okay.
I joined, I, Alter Eco was previously owned by a private equity group out of San Francisco. And I know all the partners at this private equity firm, and I had done some work with them. And they asked me to join the board of Alter Eco in 2020 and provide some oversight and strategic guidance around, especially around operational leadership, because I'm an operations guy. I've run several manufacturing facilities and manufacturing companies that produce consumer packaged goods, CPG products. And so Alter Eco is a phenomenal brand, but it was run by brand guys, sales guys, and brand guys. And so they wanted me to join the board and provide some operational oversight. And so I joined the board in 2020. And then in 2023, the private equity group decided they were going to sell the business. And I raised my hand and said, I would like to buy it. And so they said, okay. And I said, now I have to go find the money. But, and I found some investors out of Houston. We have a group out of Houston. I'm part of it now called Trek One Capital. And we put together the portfolio, the money for the portfolio, and went and bought Alter Eco in December of 2023.
Wow. Just 3 years in.
Hmm.
3 years in working for it and then you're or on the board. You were just on the
Yeah,
board.
I was on the board.
And after three
And
years you bought it.
yeah, took over as the CEO in September of 23 because we knew we were going to exercise the transaction. So I wanted to get in there and start really making some positive moves and changes. The the chocolate industry's interesting. I mean, cacao prices for 20 years or more had been between 2,500 and $4,000 a ton, somewhere in that range, consistently for 15 or 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when we bought the company in December of 23, they were $3,500 a ton. In April of 23, it went to $13,000 a ton in 4
Oh,
months.
oh, wow.
Yeah, went up over four times. And so that was a challenge. We'd only owned the company for 4 months, and
Right?
my investors are going, "Did we do the right thing?" And but fortunately or unfortunately, all the chocolate companies are playing by the same rules. Everybody's paying the same price. But the reason it went so high was because remember I said 60% of the cacao comes out of Western Africa.
Mhm.
Well, Western Africa doesn't practice agroforestry or regenerative agriculture.
Right.
Those are clear-cut plantations.
Yep.
And climate change has caused droughts or too much rain, opposite extremes. And these cacao plants haven't done well. They haven't produced the yield. And so in 2023, the yield was down almost 20%. In 24, it was down another 18 to 20%. So you're talking about 60% of the world's crop down 30 plus percent. So now you're down 20% on a global basis.
Hmm.
And when prices started to rise, then the speculators got involved
Right.
and all the traders came in. There were literally people walking through the jungles in Colombia and Ecuador with suitcases full of money offering to buy the farmers' beans.
Oh my gosh. Well, out of desperation. Yeah. Like I'll give you anything.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's so, I mean, that's something that I was sort of thinking about as far as sustainability. Like I know, I mean, being from Maine, you hear stories about the lobsters being overfished and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And so is there a risk of that with with cacao?
There's not a risk of over farming it, really. There's a risk of continual supply in areas where it's been clear cut and not
Mhm.
managed in an agroforestry or regenerative fashion. Plantations in Africa are converting as well, but
Okay.
it'll take 5 to 10 years for them to convert. You're seeing more plantations come online in places like Brazil and the rainforest areas because they have the climate to do it. And they're being very pragmatic about how they're building out these plantations. They're not going in and clear cutting, they're going in and planting cacao plants in and amongst the other plantations.
Hmm.
And so I think probably in the next 5 years or so, you'll probably see some kind of normalization of pricing. It'll never go back down to 3,500 again. I mean, it just won't. But I think we'll see it level out at somewhere that is, 6,000, $7,000 a ton range, still double what we were used to paying for it.
Right.
But honestly, that's what it's really worth anyway. The farmers weren't receiving a decent wage. Our farmers were because we pay a premium to our farmers.
Right.
And that's part of why they stay with us, not just because of the premium, but because of the support we give them and the relationship we have with them. I mean, I go visit them, we talk about what our forecast looks like and how that impacts their growing capabilities. And so.
Wow. I that's something that's always concerned me because I've sort of heard rumors, but I guess it's more I did not know about the agroforestry to protect the cacao, and I think that's wonderful that those practices are in place in many
Mhm,
areas, and hopefully that will. I mean, so I do have a question about that though, Keith. So how long from planting
mhm.
do you plant the cacao as a seed?
Mhm,
Like, do you plant
mhm.
the
Not
pod?
really as a seed, as a seedling.
Seedling?
Yeah, you grow them in a nursery environment and then you go out and transfer the seedlings. It takes about a year to get the seedling to a point where you want to
Oh,
transplant
okay.
it. And then it's about 5 years before it actually produces cacao.
Oh, okay. So from basically seed to making the fruit is about 60.
About 6 years. Yeah.
Okay.
But it can sometimes some regions you'll find it a little bit faster. It can be 4 to 5 years, but on average it's 5 to 6 years.
Yeah. So like you were saying in Brazil or in rainforests in
Mhm.
general, they could just plop a little seedling in and
Mhm.
it's pretty well taken care of for quite a
Yep.
while.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like that. And so then you were saying you pick the cacao pod and then inside you have the like is there a flesh?
There is a flesh. The pod is quite large, and the
Yeah.
beans are, the size of a
Like a
coffee bean or a
marble,
little
yeah.
bit bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so the beans are really compacted in the middle, and then there's a flesh around it. And the flesh is used in some upcycled products in Latin America and in Africa. It doesn't transport well. So it really it's virtually impossible to ship it. It doesn't transport. And so it's used in some local products. In feed, in cattle feed, and things of that nature as well.
And it's not like it's not chocolate because I know
No,
like, you can't feed animals chocolate. But it's not that. It's a fruit basically.
it is a fruit. It's totally a fruit. It's white. It's completely white.
Yeah, it's really weird looking.
Yeah, it's actually quite tasty, but like I said, it just doesn't transport.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's so fascinating. And so let me see. I'm so glad to hear about the agroforestry that you guys have set up with your farmers and just the support that you're offering. I think that's really great. And I think it's so important that you're involved in it to like, to oversee what's happening and not just be like, "Hmm, I'm just taking the money and
Yeah.
it's good."
No, we actually measure it. So that's part of our regen report every year. So last year in 2024, 75% of our cacao beans came from farms that we would deem as agroforestry. And our goal is 100%, and
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Okay.
But it's interesting the way we measure that is obviously by visual on site, but there's some regions that we can't get to. I mean, we buy from probably 16, 18,000 farmers. So there's no way you can cover all of that. So we look at satellite imagery,
Gotcha.
and you can see if it's a forest or you
Hmm.
can see if it's a clear-cut field.
Right, right. Okay. And all of your product comes from South America. So there
All
are
of our cacao.
all of your cacao. Yeah. So some of the farmers have not grasped onto the agroforestry yet, but you're working with them on that.
Exactly. And some of them are bigger. We have some farmers, the average size of the farm is 12 acres, but so small. But some farmers have bigger families, larger farms, whatnot. And so they have, you know, a, 300 acres. And so we're in the process of converting them a plot at a time because it's expensive to convert. I mean, imagine if you've got a row crop type scenario of
Right.
just cacao plants just running down row after row after row, like an orchard, for
Mhm.
example, in
Yeah.
Florida or someplace. You have to pull some of those out to put
Right.
other plants in.
Right. Well, and trees don't grow overnight.
No, they
The,
don't.
the larger trees that are going to provide shade
Exactly. And so you're pulling out
before
cacao
you put in. Yeah.
and putting something else in, and then that takes time to grow. And so there's a period of transition that is anywhere between 3 and 5 years that the farmers' wages are actually going down before they come back up.
Hmm.
And so we help support them financially to make those transitions. And we support them by providing the trees, the seedlings. We're doing a project right now in Dominican Republic with, I think it's about 16 farmers where we're providing them coconut trees, coconut tree seedlings.
Hmm.
And so they're super excited about it. And that it does a number of things. It provides them the
The fruit.
agroforestry aspect and the cash crop. But coconuts are in large demand in Dominican Republic, and they don't produce enough in the country, so they're importing coconuts
Oh,
from Malaysia, Indonesia, places like that. And so you've got the emissions of actually shipping them over there,
right.
plus the cost and everything. So they're super excited about getting some coconut trees.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like I mean, I'm sure that the loss of wages, but you're supporting them through,
Helping to offset that,
but
yeah.
you're providing the the trees and
Hmm.
the income that they would be losing, and then they get cash crops. So
Hmm.
like you're just That's amazing. I love that. I mean, just like you're totally setting them up for success in the future
Right.
and just not leaving them hanging like, okay, so you're going to grow these trees, but you got to take a pay cut in the meantime.
Yeah, we wouldn't get many people sign up for
Right?
that, I don't think.
But I mean, these people may not understand the magnitude of the benefits of what is about to be.
It's interesting. You see some farmers that are resistant, but then after that 3 or 4 year period, they see their neighbors, the cacao pods are bigger and they're higher quality and they're harvesting plantains or coconuts
Right.
and it starts to become, oh, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And so we get a lot of support and we don't buy from the individual farmers. We couldn't touch that many farmers. We buy from the cooperatives.
Mhm.
And the cooperatives are very, very actively involved in helping with that transition.
Oh gosh, I love that. I think also, and I keep seeing posts on the social medias that, um, and I know this to be true. If you have a very hot area, the more trees you have, they're absorbing the carbon dioxide
Hmm.
and get um and creating shade for you. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
less hot and less miserable.
Mhm.
So I just think that, they may not realize, but this is a huge gift.
Yeah,
And just, more plants and everything is going to be happier and healthier and just like so much more, so much more good. I think that's wonderful. So I do want to ask, so you had told the story of how this started, but how many is in a lot of stores
oh yeah, yeah.
currently, like a lot of stores.
I, nationwide, I would venture to guess that we're in, I don't even know, probably 10 or 11,000 stores nationwide. I mean,
Yeah.
we're virtually in almost every store in the natural channel. And natural channel is pretty broad in terms of, you have the big guys like Whole Foods, you have Sprouts, you have natural grocers, but then you have all the independent grocery stores. And there's so many of those. I mean, there's literally thousands and thousands of independents out there, and some of them are actually pretty decent sized chains. There's a chain in Maryland, Mom's Organic Market, and they have 38 stores. So that's a decent sized store. But some of the smaller chains, we have a partner in California called Jimbo's, and they only have 4 stores. But they do so much volume with us. It's crazy how much Alter Eco sells in there.
Oh, wow. That's really
And
cool.
and then we're in a lot of conventional markets too. So in the North Carolina area, we're in Harris Teeter, we're in Wegmans up in New England, we're in Albertsons, we're in Rayleigh's and Ralph's, and so we're pretty high V, so we're pretty well distributed. There's not any place you can go in the U.S. that you can't find it in a store somewhere close to you.
Right.
I live kind of out in the middle of nowhere in Tennessee, and so I have a hard time finding it in my local stores, but we're working
Same.
on that.
Same, Keith.
We're
Um,
working on that.
yeah, but you guys listening, watching, definitely check this out and look for Alter Eco chocolate bars wherever you're shopping and
And our
save the
website,
world one bar at a time.
yes, and you can
Um,
buy on the website too. It's alterecofoods.com.
Awesome. I just wanted to not necessarily ask, how many stores, but just so that people know that they're out there.
Hmm.
And I just think that for me personally, like hearing your story, like if I'm gonna next time I go to the store, I'm gonna see if there's one in my local store, and then just be like, hey, I know the story about this. How cool is
Yep.
that? And I'm like, I'm making a difference. I'm making a difference by eating this chocolate.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
and so is the granola also in these same places?
Yeah, pretty well distributed. It's a newer product line for us. It's
Oh,
only been around for about 4 years. we decided to kind of test the consumer and see if they would follow us to another category because we're really known as a chocolate company. But we wanted to do something that was kind of true to who we are, true to the brand DNA. And so we tried a number of different product categories and landed on granola. And our granola is all organic as well. We source our oats from regenerative farms. Our packaging is plastic, but it's post-consumer recycled plastic. So again, we're trying to be true to the brand. But the thing that's unique about our granola is we don't add any sugar. There's a lot of really sweet granolas out there. And we want to make our products a little bit healthier and better for you as well. And so we sweeten our granola with fruit. So we sweeten with monk fruit and dates, and it makes a big difference, and it's a fabulous product. As a matter of fact, talking about healthy, we just got a report published by in the MSN network, and so MSN published an article, and it says, "Do you love chocolate? Here's the healthiest bar with a near perfect score," and it's Alter Ego. They picked us.
Oh, wow. Like you didn't even like put yourself up for nomination or
Oh
anything.
no, this was just a reporter for MSN put this out there. You can't buy that kind of press, you know. And then we were just listed as one of the 10 best chocolate bars by Food and Wine magazine to pair with red wine, which is not a bad thing.
No, definitely not. No, not at all. Wow, that's super great. I mean, and it's so I'm really curious about the growth from the time that you took on the company,
Mhm.
or I don't know. I mean, was there growth while you were on the board, Keith, or was
There
it?
was, it was modest. It was single digits. The category itself is growing by about 4 to 6% a year over the last several years. And that's what it grew last year in 2024 was about 4.5%. We grew 20%. So we really put a lot of emphasis on growing, getting some listings, getting into the conventional market. Like I said, you can pretty much find us in every natural foods retailer
Mhm.
across the country. So the growth opportunities are to get into the conventional channels, and consumers are looking for it. I mean, when I go, even people don't know it, but I mean, Walmart's the number one seller in the United States of organic produce. Now, yes, there's 3,000 Walmarts, but people are looking for that even in Walmart.
That's great.
So it's important for us to we believe we have the best product in the market, so we want to get it where everybody has a chance to buy it.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that that people are seeing that there is a difference.
Hmm.
You can buy, and I don't want to diss the store brand, but there's, I mean, Hershey's or whatever,
Yeah,
the chocolate chips or bars or whatever. Like, I'm noticing in my local store, like chocolate chips are crazy expensive right now. And
everything chocolate's
oh
expensive.
my gosh, it's wild. I mean, it's literally, I think it's gone up like $2
Hmm.
in the last year
Yeah,
or so. Um, but and then if you're going to pay that type of money, like you want good quality. And also, we hear all these the health reports of like, dark chocolate. And you said you only work in dark chocolate, is that
we
correct?
do. We do. Dark chocolate's healthy for you. I mean, there was a segment on Kelly, what is it?
Kelly Rip.
Kelly Ripa's show, Mark and Kelly, her husband. There was a segment on their show about GLP-1s, and this nutritionist was saying dark chocolate has natural GLP-1.
Oh, seriously?
Hmm.
Wow,
And
that's really
and
cool.
so and Kelly said, I don't like dark chocolate. I only eat milk chocolate. So we shipped her samples of dark chocolate because ours is about as smooth as it gets.
Yeah, well, coming from Switzerland, hello. That's amazing. And I just think that, if you're going to pay a lot of money for chocolate, you want to get the best chocolate that you can for that money.
Absolutely. You want I mean, chocolate's an indulgent product. We know that. It's not something, I mean, It's okay if you sit and eat it every day. We wouldn't mind, but but it's not something you're gonna sit there and eat every day. And our bars are pretty big. They have 10 squares in them. And so, a lot of times you just break off one square and you eat that one square. So that's great. I mean, but it's an indulgent product. We understand that.
Hmm.
Our granola is a little more of a mainstream, the granola with yogurt or with fruit and stuff. A lot of people eat it every day.
Right.
But the chocolate is a little more of an indulgent. But again, if you're gonna, like you said, if you're gonna indulge yourself with a premium
Yeah. Yeah. And get the health
and feel
benefits.
good about the planet.
Exactly. Yes. That too. Win, win, win. I mean, you get the benefits of eating chocolate, you get the health benefits of eating good chocolate, and
Hmm.
you're saving the world. Like, hey, I want to go find some now. So I mean, you already said a while ago, like usually I'll end these episodes, these conversations, Keith, with, what does the word sustainability mean to you? But you already said that way back. So you said leave the earth better than you found it, which I am 100% behind you on. I think that's wonderful. So how and you gave us the website to
Hmm.
find you, and it's Shop Alter Eco. Is that
It's just www.alterecofoods.com.
Alter Eco Foods? So that's ALTERECO
Hmm.
foods.com.
Hmm.
Okay.
And we're on Amazon and a lot of the traditional marketplaces.
Okay. So you guys look them up. I want you to I want some feedback. Let me know what you think of, and if there's a flavor that you like. How many flavors are there? I know you've
Oh
got a
gosh, I
mint,
think we
you've got a mint truffle. I think that's what you were showing me.
Yeah, I think we have 20. I should know this, but I think we have 26 flavors of bars, 26 or 28 flavors of bars, and
Wow.
we have six flavors of truffles.
Wow, that's a
Um,
lot of options.
yeah, we have basically three different families of bars. We have what we call our blackout line, and our blackout line is 85, 90, or 100% cacao.
Ooh.
And even the 100% is smooth, silky, creamy, but that's our best selling line. And in that line we have our total black, we call it total blackout, super blackout at 90%, classic blackout at 85%, and then we have a raspberry blackout, orange blackout, an almond blackout, and mint blackout.
Mm. Oh, that
And
sounds
then and
good.
then we have a line of what we call just our darks. And so we have a coconut toffee, we have a quinoa crunch, we have a sea salt, we have a burnt caramel, and we have brown butter.
Oh my gosh.
And then we have what we think of as our indulgent line, and that's a line of truffle thins. So basically, what we did was we took a dark chocolate bar and we made three layers. It's dark chocolate, a layer of truffle filling, the ganache, and then another layer of dark
Oh
chocolate.
my goodness.
And so we have salted caramel,
I'm gonna start crying.
we
That
have
just sounds
salted
so good.
caramel, mint cream, creme brulee,
Oh wow.
orange cream, raspberry cream, passion fruit cream, and sweet ginger.
Wow.
Oh, and I forgot one of our newest dark bar is coffee brittle.
Oh wow. I bet that's gonna be a really good seller.
If you're a coffee drinker, it is amazing. You can taste the little crunch of coffee beans in it.
Mm. Now, I do have a question that how the chocolate color, so dark
Mhm.
chocolate, milk chocolate, bittersweet, like is it a matter of how long it's roasted?
It's a matter of the percentage of cacao and how long it's roasted.
Okay.
So our 100% is very, very, very dark. But all of ours are dark chocolate, so all of ours are pretty dark. We use cocoa butter. We don't use milk we don't have a milk chocolate product.
Hmm.
Um, but it's also, you can get a color profile from roasting as well.
Now, so how does it get to be so dark when it starts out like white?
Well, the beans aren't white. The beans
Oh,
are dark.
okay. It's just like
It's
that coating you
the
said.
flesh
Okay.
around it. Yeah, the flesh around it's white.
Okay. All right. Then I'm gonna
The
stop.
beans look kind of like a coffee bean,
Oh, okay.
but bigger, a little bit bigger.
Right. Okay. Very cool. So you guys, I want to hear back if you've tried these bars or the truffles. What's the best one? What's your favorite flavor? Report back, and I will let Keith know what I'll let Keith know the outcomes. And yeah, definitely check those out and help save the world.
Great.
Keith, thank you so much. This has been just so enlightening and so wonderful. I love getting to know the story, the history, the process
Hmm.
procedure. It's not a procedure, but the process of the cacao. Um, it's just fascinating to me, and it's all new. So very exciting. And thank you so much for all you're doing for the world and for the farmers. Like I just think this is a such a wonderful cycle, a circle of life thing. Cycle. I'm gonna say cycle.
Yeah. It's it's fun. I love what I do, and it's really rewarding to see the farmers and see the pride they take in the products.
Yeah. And I'm sure,
Really rewarding.
when they're having good success and making good money and with the cash crops extra and everything,
Mhm.
like that's gotta just, make life better for everyone.
It does. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you for all you're doing. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Keith Bearden, everyone, and Alter Eco chocolate, granola, and quinoa.
Hmm.
Check it out. Let me know, okay, you guys? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to take a second to thank my guest again for speaking with me and sharing such great information. I love having these conversations with folks. I also want to thank Buzzsprout for hosting the podcast, for Jane Bolduck and her music genius, for Becca Coffron and her award-winning artwork. And thank you for listening. I appreciate that so much. Please check out the show notes for any links and extra information. And if you would like to follow my guest and find out more about them, I'm sure they would love the follow. And if you don't mind leaving a rating or review wherever you're listening, and just help to get this podcast in front of new eyes, that would be amazing. I would really love that. And feel free to reach out to me on the socials and let me know what you're thinking. And if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please let me know that. I would love to have a conversation with you about sustainability. All right. Thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of the week.
There'll come a day, my mama told me, when I find love to have and hold me, a heart that's strong and so sincere. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? Oh, tell me, how do I get there from here? 'Cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. We'll find a way to soothe the sickness. We'll heal the ache with sweet forgiveness. Wages of war will disappear. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? I wonder, how do I get there from here? Yeah, 'cause here now I'm so far down and mercy's bound to find me. gate of grace has finally found me. Well, there'll be music, ooh, and good friends around me, yeah. And I'll just smile through happy tears and wonder